Yeah, today we come to a very important lesson, chapter 7, the Upadana Parivaṭṭa Sutta, the discourse on the full cycles of clinging, as 22.56. Right, this on the top right hand corner. No? The theme is an examination of the 5 aggregates within this life. This sutta will explain to us a lot of things about the nature of life, nature of our mind, nature of our body. This is one of those things that interests a lot of modern scholars, scientists, psychologists, and they are finding this kind of teaching very valuable. Can you imagine all these scientists and psychologists, they're using all these ideas because it fits into their modern theories very well. We should ask ourselves, how did the Buddha get all these amazing ideas? Through his meditation. Okay. Now, in Buddhism, early Buddhism, right? Remember, I like to say early Buddhism because Buddhism is 2,500 years old, and you have all kinds of teachings in the name of Buddhism today. Very confusing, very superstitious, not helpful at all. So, not everything with the label Buddhist is Buddhism. Right? So, be very careful. No? What we are interested here is called early Buddhism. Early Buddhism is a simple word meaning the historical Buddha. The Buddha who arose in India as a human being, who practiced meditation, discovered the truth himself, and then he passed away into nirvana. All right? We will begin to understand the value of his teaching when you study a text like this. So early Buddhism likes to start with very basic questions, very simple questions. We can start with something very simple to ask, what are we? Okay. Now, asking the right question is very important in Buddhism. Asking the right question, because when you ask the right question, the answer is already in it. Okay. And it's very scientific. The scientists do the same thing. They look for the right questions. That's the first noble truth, actually. So we can ask, what am I? What are we? But what are we is too big. Okay? So we narrow it down, what am I? Okay? Now notice, if you ask, who am I? It's a totally different question. This is called the grammar of spirituality. Who is a construct. We use names. If I say, who are you? I'm asking for your name, or your job. See? But if I ask, what are you? It's something else. We normally don't ask that because it's a very profound question. But today we can ask that question of ourselves. What am I? What does it mean to ask, what am I? That means you're asking, what am I composed of? What am I made of? What's going on here? In this body, what is this body, and so on. What? Okay. So we're going to only answer with things that we know, things that we can experience. Okay. We have a body, right? That is very sure. See here, the Buddha likes to start with things you cannot controvert, you cannot deny. Unless you're really crazy, then no point talking with you anyway. Right? So we say, we have a body. Do you agree? We all agree, right? Okay, fine. Now, the next thing is we ask ourselves, we know that we have a body, right? So, the fact that we know, this knowing aspect is the mind. So, you have a body, you have mind, right? The mind knows that there is this body. Now that's a very good way to start, isn't it? Because this is a scientific way. Question, answer, question, answer. You have body, you have mind. And nobody can disagree with this. Now we keep on asking question. What is this body? What is the mind? This is what this sutta will answer. Okay? Very simply, okay? The body are the 4 elements. Okay? Now this is Buddha's time. There's no science as we know it today at that time. Buddha says the body is made up of 4 elements. Earth, water, fire, wind. Today we use the words solidity, liquidity, heat, and motion. or plasma if you want to be scientific. Okay, so the 4 states of matter are accepted today. But the Buddha is not talking science here. The Buddha is talking about the nature of the body. Earth is not just ground earth. It refers to solidity. Or, to be a bit technical, earth refers to resistance. I put my hand here, and my hand won't go to the table. Resistance. I sit down, I feel the floor. That is resistance. That's earth element. Because the earth element in my body, I feel that resistance. What are the earth elements in my body? All the solid parts. Head hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin, bones, things like that. These are the solid aspects. Okay. Then you have the water, liquid aspect. Most of our body is liquids. Saliva, blood, urine, and so on. And then fire, you can feel the body warmth. Fire is your, what do you call that, digestion. Digestion. The heat, the warmth that keep you alive. Okay? In fact, this fire is decay, oxidation. We start decaying from day one. The moment we are born, we start decaying. But of course, we give a nice name to it. We say babyhood, infanthood, teenage, adulthood, and then old age, and so on. Okay. All right. So, earth, water, fire, then wind. Wind is motion. Air coming in, air going out, gases in your body. The interesting thing is the Buddha includes the muscular movement of your, what do you call, alimentary canal under this category, movement. Anything to do with movement. So there you are, very scientific, But the Buddha is only teaching this so that we can reflect. This is what we are. Okay? And then the mind, mind is very complicated. Okay? Mind, first thing what you notice about the mind, there is feeling. And then there is perception. And then there is consciousness, and there is what's called volition, and so on. So the Buddha already used all these big terms those days, which even today the scientists are still arguing, the psychologists are still arguing the definition of all these terms. But in Buddhism, everything is so clearly explained. And this is what we're going to look into. Okay, so let's look at the translation now. Now there are lots of interesting things you can see here. If you want to revise what I've said, you can look on my page is 111. Is it the diagram? Can you see table 3? Table 3. Can you? There's a square table there. Can you see? Yeah. Okay. This is a summary of what we're going to study today: form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. And the second column they tell you what all these are and what the conditions are. Okay. So this is in case you want to revise what we have studied today. All right. So there are lots of this kind of notes for you to study on your own. All right, let's start with the sutta, page 117. Now look at the title first of all, Upādāna. Upādāna has got 2 important meanings. The normal sense of Upādāna is clinging. Okay? Dana means to give. Dana means to take. And then the first part of the word is upa. Upa is intensified, okay? To bring something close to you. So Upādāna means clinging. Clinging. Yeah? Upādāna also means fuel. Fuel. You keep adding fuel into the fire keep on burning. So this Upādāna feeds our life, feeds our karma. So we keep on going, we keep on suffering because of this Upādāna. Parivaṭṭa. Now pari is very similar to English or rather Latin peri and Greek para. For example, you have perimeter, that means all around. And then parabola, everything to do all around. So pari means all around. Vaṭṭa means cycle. Parivaṭṭa. So it translates as full cycle. Sutta means thread, a teaching thread. It's a thread because you follow the thread, it goes right back to the Buddha. So the translation is the Discourse on the Full Cycles of Clinging. That means you're going to look at each of these, what I call the 5 aggregates, in terms of the 4 Noble Truths, using the 4 Noble Truth formula. Okay. Next thing, you either remember the name Upadana Parivaṭṭa Sutta, or you can choose the English title, the Discourse on the Full Cycles of Clinging, or you can remember the number as 22.56. Okay, the 3 ways you can remember this sutta. Okay, the sutta starts with a place. Look at verse 1. At Savatthi. So this is where the Buddha was teaching, in a place in northern India called Savatthi. There the Blessed One said, okay, here the Buddha straight away teach the monks and the people listening to him without any question. Bhikshus, okay, bhikshus are the monks. There are these 5 aggregates of clinging. What are the 5? Notice they mentioned 5 aggregates of clinging. These are the aggregates that we cling to. We want these things. Whereas the Arahats and the Buddha also have these 5 aggregates. The Buddha also has got body and mind, but there's no clinging. So that's the difference. Okay. They are as follows. Okay, this is what's called the thesis, the summary, the syllabus. Number 1, form, the form aggregate of clinging, the feeling aggregate of clinging, the perception aggregate of clinging, the mental formations aggregate of clinging, the consciousness aggregate of clinging. Right. So these are the 5 aggregates. Yeah? Now, if you want the Pali words, form is rupa, feeling is vedana, perception is sanya, mental formation is sankhara, and consciousness is vijnana. Okay? Okay, yeah, you can. Yeah. Page 116, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, you can see all the Pali words there near the bottom. The Pali words rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana. Yeah? You can, when you're free, you can write them down in the blank space on the right on page 117. But don't worry, just look at the English words will do. Section 4. Bhikshus, as long as I did not directly know these 5 aggregates of clinging in their 4 cycles as they really are, I did not claim to have awakening to the incomparable full awakening in this world with its gods, its maras, and its brahmas, this generation with its recluses and brahmins, its rulers and people. Right? So the Buddha says, as long as he didn't understand all this, he did not claim to be a Buddha, he did not teach the Dhamma. But bhikshus, when I have directly known the 5 aggregates of clinging in their 4 cycles as they really are, then he taught the Dhamma to others. Okay? So what are these 4 cycles? Look at the next section.
Is the word full supposed to be there?
Where? Which line?
You say 4 cycles instead of 4 full cycles. So
yeah, 4 full cycles. Okay. What are the 4 full cycles? I directly knew form in its arising, its ending, the way leading to its ending. Do you see the structure of the 4 Noble Truths here? So you remember, if you remember the first discourse, the Dhammacakka Sutta or Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha gives a list of suffering, 8 kinds of suffering. The last one is the 5 aggregates. The 5 aggregates are said to be suffering itself. Okay, so the first column is underlined for you, form. That is the first cycle. The first truth, the truth of suffering, form. Second, it's arising, the arising of it, the cause. Normally we don't use the word cause, we say arising. Okay, and then the whatever arises also must end, like your breath comes in, must go out, okay? At the ending. And then number 4, the way leading to the ending of suffering. So in other words, this body is form. We must understand what is form, how it arises, how it passes away, and then the path, the way leading to the ending of the suffering, that is. I directly knew feeling, its arising, its ending, the way leading to its ending. I directly knew perception, its arising, its ending, the way leading to its ending. I directly knew volitional formations, their arising, their ending, the way leading to their ending. Number 5, I directly knew consciousness, its arising, its ending, the way leading to its ending. Okay? Notice the Buddha always says, I directly knew. That means he's saying that he experienced it for himself. Right? So, when you come here to study the Dhamma, right now you don't directly know it because I'm telling you. Second-hand knowledge. Then I got it from elsewhere, from the Buddha, so it's third-hand knowledge. Now if I got it from books, it's worse. Fifth-hand, sixth-hand. So your task is, this is a starting point. You say, okay, now I know what form is. Now I've got to find out for myself. Okay? Okay, this is the syllabus. Section 6 gives you the syllabus. Then after that you have the elaboration of each of these 5. Can you see brackets 1 form? Okay. Now this is what I've added in the translation, so easy to read. Okay. And then after that you can see number 2 is on the page 120, and so on. Like it goes on up to 5. So it's very well organized here, the suttas. Now the suttas repeat themselves very often because originally they were spoken, no notes. The teachers would just recite it and everybody listened carefully. Okay? So everything is repeated so that they don't forget it. It's like a song, like chanting. Yeah? Okay, now what is form? Let's just find out now. Now you notice there are lots of tiny little numbers there. Those are footnotes. You look at, can you see form 1, form, and then 45, right? So footnote 45 is at the bottom. Now, this is a very good footnote because it's both for mind and body, Now, if you are say you are sleepy but can't sleep, then you read the footnotes. It's very helpful, right? Because the last thing that you read, normally you will remember, right? So, you want more details, you look at the footnotes. I have one friend in Canada, he will read it very carefully, all these footnotes, and then he makes some more notes all around the page. Then he tells me, he says, my page is not big enough. So I told him, why don't you insert another blank piece of A4 paper or another big piece of paper and make notes, right? So he really likes to make notes. So making notes helps you to learn all these things better. All right, section 7. And what bhikshus is form? The 4 great elements, and forms derived from the 4 elements. This bhikshus is called form. Okay, now the problem now is the Buddha gave it very brief because the monks knew some of these things. The Buddha did not define what are the 4 elements. I already mentioned to you, earth, water, fire, wind, right? So the footnotes are there. So you look at 46, quite a lot of stuff are given to you there in detail. Okay, then towards the end, you can see there are sutta numbers and so on. You can go on reading some more, you can find out, see? So this is a great way of learning. On your own, you can go on reading, follow the notes, right? And this will really educate you. This will help you understand the nature of life. All right, so the 4 great elements and forms derived from the 4 great elements. So in other words, for example, form, there are other minor aspects of it. Okay? So, for example, when you talk about form, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, all these are form. They're regarded as material aspect of our body. Only our mind, material aspect of the mind, that is under mind, which we'll come to in a moment. Right? Now, at this point, if you understand the four great elements as earth, water, fire, wind, that's good enough. Okay, you start there and then you progress as you go along to fill in the details. Now the Buddha goes on. With the arising of food, there is arising of form. Very simple statement. Because we take food is earth element, solid food, right? We take in food, we chew it, and then it goes into our body, gets digested, it becomes our muscle, our bones, and so on. We drink soup, water element, right? Also form, and then our body absorb it, convert it, and then it goes out again. It comes in, it goes out, it's a cycle. It never remains totally inside, remember, né? Whatever you take in earth element, it goes out again. Alright? We have a special room for that. And then you drink water, it goes out again. You got a special room for that. You breathe in, there's wind, and then breathe out again. Right? You cannot keep it, it's not yours. Alright? So earth, and then heat element also same. You take in the heat, you give out heat. Alright? With the cessation of food, there is a cessation of form. Right? Of course, this is difficult for us. We have to take food. But when the Buddha mentioned food, there are different kinds of food, Material food, solid food is only one kind. There's another kind of, in English you say food for thought, right? Our thoughts are also food. When you think, that also creates you. It makes you unhappy, it makes you happy when you think. Your karma also is food, your consciousness also is food, right? Then this Noble Eightfold Path is truly the way to the ending of form. That is to say, right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Right? So there you are, the Buddha say, you want to end the suffering that form brings you practice the Eightfold Path. Bhikshus, those ascetics or Brahmins, having directly known form, having directly known the arising of form, having directly known the ending of form, having directly known the way to the ending of form, practice it for the sake of revulsion towards form, for its fading away, for its cessation. They are well practiced. This one is very deep. Okay, revulsion, right? Most people in the world, opposite of revulsion is what? Attraction. They are attracted to the body. They say, "Oh, this body looks very nice." Now, if you say body A looks very nice, body B doesn't look nice, so you don't like body B, right? So you find in Singapore, young people, they only like their own young people. Old people are forgotten long before we move on. We don't exist already, right? Until their turn comes, right? So this is rather sad, right? We have this idea that even now I'm surprised. I'm quite shocked. I even hear people telling me that everybody is measured. Everybody can be measured. You have a certain worth. In Singapore, you cost so much. Can you imagine that we become like meat, how much per kilo, right? But in Buddhism, we say just the opposite. We must practice the immeasurable. We must stop measuring. Then only you really become happy. You are not happy because you measure things. How can you measure happiness? What is the unit for measuring happiness? There are some things you can't measure. The most important thing in our lives you can't measure. Happiness, joy, peace, love. You can't measure these things. But once you try to start measuring this, you're in real trouble. The marriage won't work. You won't be happy with the job because you're always measuring how much money you're getting and next guy getting more money. There's always someone getting more than you. So it depends where you look, you will see that, you see. But if you look within you, you feel the peace, then you're not worried about more. See? So here the Buddha says, revulse means when you look at form, you say, oh, I know what this form is now. This body, you need food for it, right? There are other reflections, very powerful reflection. For example, one reflection is on the impurities of the body. We say this body, you got to wash it every day. even you wash it every day also, it still smells. You know, the Buddha said you get impurities oozing out from the 9 openings. He was quite direct, you know. So when you reflect in this way, you say, wow, what is there to be so, so excited about all this body? You know, we have to take care of it. And the Buddha doesn't say you should hate the body either. He's saying that's the true nature of the body. So respect the body, keep it healthy, but don't get carried away by it. Have a realistic view of it. Realistic view, right? For example, when we retire, you cannot stop doing things, you know. In Singapore, we like to say there's no such thing as retirement, right? We try to work as long as we can. Why? Because we want to keep our minds healthy, our body healthy too. But our body being what it is, it cannot be physically active all the time. So there comes a point in our life when we have to exercise according to our strength or ability. Now, if you do that, then your quality of life will improve. Of course, you will probably live longer, and you know, in Singapore they say we have a longest lifespan now. So being healthy in body, being healthy in mind is very important. Even the monks exercise to keep their body healthy. They do mental exercise called meditation to make the mind healthy. Right? So to be a Buddhist means to have a healthy body with a healthy mind. Having a healthy mind in a healthy body. Okay? So revulsion here means you see the body as it is. You say, I know what this body really is. So I'm not excited about it. In fact, I'm very careful about this body. I know this body must be kept clean. This body must be maintained. I have to exercise it. I have to take food properly, like that. Okay? So that way you know this body for what it is. You're not excited. You don't worry about showing it off to other people and so on. Those who are well practiced gain a firm footing in this Dhamma Vinaya, the teaching and the Vinaya. And bhikshus, those ascetics and Brahmins, ascetics are the monks who practice meditation and so on. The Brahmins are the priests in Buddha's time. Those ascetics and Brahmins, having directly known the form, its arising, its ending, and the way to its ending, practice it for the sake of revulsion towards form, for its fading away, for its cessation. They are freed by non-clinging. They are well freed. So the Buddha says that if you understand the nature of form, that this body is form, and this form is made up of food and so on, and it is impermanent, you're on the way to be awakened, to see true reality. Those who are freed are the consummate ones. Consummate means a fully successful in life, in the true sense of the word, for whom there is no round to describe them. No round to describe. You cannot measure these people. You can no more see how much people are worth, because they are valueless, priceless, we say, right? Very precious in that sense. Okay, so this is the main passage. Once you see this passage 1, the rest follow the same structure, same format, we say, right? So now we have feeling. Okay, look at feeling number 2. And what bhikshu is feeling? So you have the formation, the definition. There are these 6 classes of feeling. Feeling born of eye contact, visual feeling. Feeling born of ear contact, oral feeling. Oral means something to do with the ear. Feeling born of sound, of nose contact. Feeling born of tongue contact. Feeling born of body contact. Feeling born of mind contact. Okay? The words in brackets are modern scientific terms, and they're big words. Don't worry about them. So here, where does feeling come from? The Buddha says feeling arises from our 6 senses. These are the 6 senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. These are the 5 physical senses. The 6th sense is the mind. Okay, these are called the 6 senses. So in Buddhism we talk the 6 senses. How do feelings arise from the senses? When you see something, you decide, I like it, I don't like it, because of feeling, right? You hear something, feeling also arises. I like this song, I don't like that song, like that. Or I don't care about this sound, I don't know what it means, right? So there are 3 kinds of feelings actually. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feeling. Okay? Then the 3rd source of feeling is your nose. You smell something, say, oh, I like this one. So I don't like this one, and so on. Next one is taste, the tongue. Nice taste, not nice, neutral, right? So we're talking about our reaction to taste. Then body contact, the weather, the temperature, say, wow, very, very nice weather, very, too hot, or whatever, okay? And then mind contact, the thoughts that arise in your mind, you say, oh, I like this thought, or I don't like this thought, or I'm bored with this thought and I fall asleep. Right, so there you are. So you have each of these senses, the 6 of them, they have 3 kinds of feeling. So total you get how many kinds of feelings? 18 feelings. So these are called the 18 feelings. So you imagine the Buddha is coming out with all these classifications, and the scientists today look at this, they're very excited. They say, wow, how did the Buddha know all this? This bhikshus is called feeling. Now with the arising of contact, there is a arising of feeling. Like contact here means, for example, the eye sees form, contact, then feeling arises. Okay? So this is called the triangle of experience. The triangle of experience, first you must have the sense organ, say the eye. Number 2, you must have the sense object, something you can see, let's say this cup. Okay? Number 3 is the consciousness. The consciousness is the attention. The attention, you're paying attention to this. Eye, cup. But if I'm thinking about something else, you know, sometimes your friend look at you, but you know his mind is somewhere else. He doesn't see you because he's thinking about something else, right? So the mind must be there too. So I, object, the mind is there. Then we say cup. Okay. So then I say, oh, I like this cup. I don't like the color. Whatever. You decide the feeling. So that's how it goes. Same thing. Sound. Ear is the faculty, the organ, sound, and then consciousness, ear consciousness. When the 3 combine, you get contact, ear contact, and then feeling according to hearing, and so on. So the rest you can imagine, the other senses. So this bhikshus is called feeling. With the arising of contact, there is the arising of feeling. With the cessation of contact, there is a cessation of feeling, right? Now, you notice sometimes we look at something we don't like, we feel sad, we get angry, right? That's because we keep looking at this, especially when you think of something. So how you use this teaching to remove suffering. So don't think of those things. Remove the source of that kind of feeling, right? You don't think about it, no suffering, all right? The Noble Eightfold Path is truly the way to the ending of feeling. That is to say, right view, right thought. Now it's arranged in this way because right view, right thought is one set. Okay, this is under wisdom training, and then right speech, right action, right livelihood. This is moral virtue training, and then the next set, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This is concentration training, and then everything's repeated. Bhikshus, the ascetics or Brahmins, having directly known, they directly experience feeling, arising of feeling, ending of feeling, the way to the ending of feelings. They feel revulsion to it. They are not attracted to it, basically. They know what it is. Okay? And because of this, they are free from all this clinging, wanting more and more of all the nice things coming from feelings. Now when they can do that, then they become awakened like the Buddha. Then you cannot measure them anymore. They are totally awaken like the Buddha. All right? So that is feeling. Now, some people may find this very profound, very deep, but this is only one lesson. We're going to study all this again and again and again, because it's a very profound. So this is, take it as like a first lesson, okay? So don't say, wow, I don't understand. Or an important thing, just remember the word form. You can remember, that's very good already. Number 2, remember feeling, okay? That's number 2. The first aggregate is form. Second aggregate is feeling. And now the third aggregate. What is the third aggregate? Right, there you are, number 3, perception. Now it's a little bit more complicated, perception. Already. And what bhikshu is perception? There are these 6 classes of perception. Okay, perception. How you recognize things. Okay, I look at this, I perceive it as a cup because I've seen what a cup is like before. That's how babies learn things. We buy toys for babies, isn't it? So the babies begin to recognize things by association. So when you give a teddy bear, you say teddy bear, you keep on repeating the word, the baby will say teddy bear, see, right? So, and then the baby learns things. We were babies once, and so it's a cup. Now in our old center, we have a meditation seat, Now, originally, this meditation seat is actually a tea table. It's a table. But I'm sitting on it for meditation. So what do you call it now? Do you call it a table or do you call it a chair? Right? So these are all names we give to it, you see. Okay? So that's called perception. You recognize this as a cup. Sanya. All this nya ending means knowledge. Right? So perception means how we recognize people, how we recognize what we see, how we recognize what we hear, how we recognize what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, what we think, right? For example, if I tell you, what are you drinking? You say, oh, I'm drinking coffee. Now, even though I'm not drinking coffee now, I have this perception in my mind what you are drinking because I have experienced that before. But if I have not experienced it before, you say, what is coffee? You don't know what it is because you've never experienced it before. So because we have experienced it before, we can recognize. Recognize. Cognize means to know. Recognize means just you say, oh yes, I know that one. I recognize it. Okay? Again, this sounds very deep, right? But take it like that first. Don't worry. It took me 50 years, so for you, you're just starting. So just remember the words, and then slowly things will fit in a very beautiful pattern. So perception arises from form. You see form. You're walking downstairs in the dimly lit street, and you see a form coming. You say, what's that? First of all, you say, what's that? You don't know what it is. You say, oh, it's a person. You don't know who, right? And then the person comes close and says, oh, I recognize this. This is Mr. So-and-so, right? So recognition through form. Then sound. You hear a sound, very indistinct. You say, what sound is that? And you say, oh, okay, now I know it is what language. And then you recognize the words. Smell, same thing. You recognize smell and you recognize taste, touch, and thoughts. So bhikshu, this bhikshu is called perception. With the arising of contact, there is the arising of perception. So again, contact is when your sense faculty comes in contact with sense object. Then you recognize, you perceive, you say cup. Okay, now at one more level, you perceive it and then you feel. Okay, it goes like that, step by step. So if you're not happy looking at this cup, you look away, right? So with the cessation of contact, you don't see this anymore, no more suffering. And then everything's repeated. The Eightfold Path is truly the way to the ending of perception. That is right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Bhikshus, those ascetics or Brahmins, having thoroughly known perception, arising of perception, ending of perception, the way to the ending of perception, this is another way of talking about the Four Noble Truths, they understand perception in terms of the Four Noble Truths, they will overcome suffering, and they awaken just like the Buddha. And these are the people you cannot measure. They are already fully awakened. Now number 4. Okay, we take a break now. We finish the last 2 afterwards. Okay, so now we started our study by saying that we have a body, right? And we know there is this body because of our minds. Because there's this mind, there's this body, there is feeling. Because the body it's made up of the 4 elements, and these 4 elements, they are all the time in a flux, all the time changing, never still. And our body is such that if you keep yourself in one posture for too long, you feel pain, you feel tired. So we don't notice this pain is because we keep changing our posture, right? But it's there. Okay? So there is feeling. Because we have the body, we have consciousness, there is feeling. And when there is feeling, we recognize this feeling. And when I like this, why do I like this feeling? Because in the past, it was connected with something I like. So I look back, use my memory. Let's say I meet somebody. Someone met me one day, and she excitedly said, "Oh, this wonderful! It looks like my uncle." Or someone said, "It looks like my father." I say, "Oh, very good. I hope you love your father, you love your uncle." So, because if they are well disposed to those people, they also will like me. But if they don't like them, then I'm in trouble. They will like me too. Is it? So we are like that. We tend to judge the present very often from the past. That's perception. Okay. So very often it's wrong perception, right? Now, so once you perceive something, you say person, and then you know the name, and then you say, okay, I like this person, I don't like this person, depending on your memories. If this perception, this person, this thing brings back, is connected to past good memory, you say, oh, I like it, I want more of it. If it's connected with something you don't like, painful in the past, I don't like it, and so on. If you cannot recognize it, no past experience, then no feedback. Then it's neutral feeling. If you're not well trained in meditation, neutral feeling makes you feel bored and sleepy. Right? The answer is to reflect on all these things as impermanent. Or in our meditation, what do? We smile. We smile at it, even at something neutral. Then our mind is at peace. All right? So there is perception. We recognize something, and then you say, I like it, I don't like it. All right? Actually, there's one more step before that. Before you say, I like it, I don't like it, there's one more step you must watch out. Okay? And that step is when you recognize something as pleasant or unpleasant. Again, this is our bias. We tend to judge. Nice person, not nice, right? Now that part is actually the perception. So if you stop there at the feeling part, then you're okay. Alright, not too bad. But if you go further and you say, oh, this is very nice, but this is very nice, so I don't like it. Now once you say, I don't like it, karma is formed. This is a new step. No? Karma is formed. When you say, I don't like it, bad karma is formed. When you say, I like it, bad karma also is formed. Because you want more and more of it. If you say, this is boring, I don't know what it is, also bad karma. Well, looks like no escape, huh? How do you escape it? Very simple. You say, oh, this is impermanent. All this come and go. Then it doesn't matter whether you like it, you don't like it, or neutral, you smile. Loving kindness. That is why we practice loving kindness. Right? The modern term for this is being professional. Okay? In other words, you're not carried away by how people look, what people do to you, you're calm, you're peaceful with loving kindness. You can go that far and talk about it that way. Yeah? So, we don't want this karma to arise. Of course, if we can't escape karma, so at least we want good karma to arise. Okay? By showing loving kindness. Or by saying it's impermanent, right? So this is the next step. Step number 4, the fourth aggregate. Look at the page 121, right? Section 4. Volitional formations. Big word, huh? Volition means your intention. Alright? Formation means your mind form ideas. That's how karma is formed. So they're called volitional formations. 16. And what bhikshus are volitional formations? There are 6 classes of volitional or volitions. Right? Notice again, same 6 classes based on the 6 senses. Volition regarding form. Volition regarding sound. Volition regarding smell. Volition regarding taste. Volition regarding touch. Volition regarding mind object. In other words, karma can arise to you in 6 ways. Karma can arise when you see form. Karma can arise when you hear sounds. Karma arises when you smell, and so on. Right? And then you multiply by 3. Karma with something you see as pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, also to create karma. Right? So, what kind of karma is created there? If you like something and you say, I want it, then the karma of desire arises. That means desire has arisen in you. If you don't like something, you get angry, you say, I don't like this, you get angry, then you create the habit of being angry. If you say, I don't care about this, I don't know what it is, then ignorance arises. You see? So the greed, hate, delusion, these are the 3 roots. You go deeper, it is lust, repulsion, and ignorance, deeper still in the unconscious, right? So in order to prevent this, we reflect on all these are impermanent like that. Yeah. All right, then bhikshus. This bhikshu is called volitional formations. With the arising of contact, there's a arising of volitional formation. So here, every time the arising is contact. So through when the senses, sense, object, contact, then karma arises. Okay. Then the Buddha says, you want to get rid of all this? You must practice the Eightfold Path. It's called the 3 trainings, right? And then the Buddha says, all those holy people who directly know all these things, when they are very wise, they understand volitional formation, they understand karma, they understand how karma arises, they understand how karma ends, and then they practice it, the path. No? Then they are called well practiced. They are the ones who become enlightened, become awakened. They cannot be counted. You cannot know them really. And now comes the last one, number 5, consciousness. This is the most tricky of all. Section 19. And what bhikshus is consciousness? There are these 6 classes of consciousness. You notice almost everything is 666, huh? Right? Because everything is connected with the senses. Okay? Eye consciousness. Ear consciousness. Okay, I've given some extra notes. Just square brackets as extra notes. Eye consciousness as visual awareness or sense of seeing. You can use either of this. This to help you understand. Eh? Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. Okay, these are the 6 kinds of consciousnesses. With these pictures is called consciousness. With the arising of name and form, there is the arising of consciousness. With the cessation of name and form, there is cessation of consciousness. Okay, now it's different. Notice now, the Buddha says, name and form. Nama, rupa. Now this is different. Previous was contact, right? This is part of the 12 links, Okay? Here the Buddha says, when there is name and form, there is consciousness. Okay, this is very easy to understand. Go back to the baby, the infant analogy again. See, babies are born ignorant. Okay? So if a monkey takes the baby away and raises the baby behaves like a monkey after that. Right? Human body, but mind is of a monkey. Right? So human beings, we take care of the baby. So we humanize the baby. Right? How? By giving the baby toys. Right? So we have the object, a toy, that's form. And then we name it. We say duck. No? We say duck or whatever, frog, whatever. We keep on repeating. That's name, you see? And then we point to the form. Name, form. Name, form. And the baby listens and learns it. The baby's consciousness arises. Very easy to understand, you see? That's how the baby's consciousness grows. Otherwise the consciousness is not human. It's a monkey consciousness. Or wolf consciousness. There are wolf babies, right? So this is, can you see the Buddha explaining all these things? So the modern psychologists are amazed. How did he know all these things? This is what they are looking for now. Okay? So with the cessation of name and form, there is a cessation of consciousness. Now here the consciousness refers to the way the mind thinks and feels and so on, right? So where you direct your mind, you create that kind of consciousness. So be careful where you direct your mind. If you want your mind to be pure and good and happy, then practice the Eightfold Path. So that's the next step, which is repeated. And then the Buddha concludes by saying, all those holy men who directly know, who understand consciousness, they also know the arising of consciousness, they know how consciousness ends, and then they practice it. And these holy men, they become Buddhas, they become awakened. All right? And then you cannot count them. They are very special people, like the Arahats and so on. So there you are. These are the 5 aggregates. Now they're called aggregates because they work together. They are not really separate. For example, form cannot exist by itself. Form, because the form works with feeling. We have bodies, so we have feelings. How does feeling arise? Because we perceive things, right? And why is there? How is it there's perception? Because we have consciousness. You cognize something. Cognize, consciousness. Recognize, perception. Like that. They go together. No? We cognize something means we know something. Like today you have heard the word 5 aggregates. So next time you hear the word 5 aggregates, you say, oh yes, I remember. First one is form. Right? So you have recognized it. But that one is a good recognition. So there you are. These are the 5 aggregates. Form, feeling, perception, volitional formation, consciousness. The first one is body. Last 4 deal with the mind. Okay? So remember the 5 aggregates. If you can't remember, look at the diagram, table 3. So everything is summarized there. Can you see that? So you see second column, everything is page 111. Everything is given to you there. Okay? So and then the condition, food, contact, and then name and form. So this is summary of what we have studied today. Okay, you have any questions on this? Yes.
So these 5 aggregates is the concept or the notion of self. Because of this.
That is another big area we will go into one day. The Buddha says, if anyone talks about a self, you have to go back to the 5 aggregates. If there's any self, it must have something to do with the aggregates. Okay. Now we ask ourselves, is form the self? You can't say form is a self because form is changing all the time. The 4 elements. what about next one? Feeling. Can feeling be self? Oh, feeling change even more, right? So, if you say self that changes, is okay. But if you say self doesn't change, it's permanent forever, then you have a problem. No such thing, just imaginative. So it's form, consciousness, and so on. You can try all the five. You find everything is impermanent. That's why the Buddha say everything is changing in that sense. Okay? All right, what else? Any other question?
You were saying everything is karma. What about, let's say we went to a shopping area, we saw something I like, but I didn't buy. So is it like karma? And it's lovely.
Oh, that's good karma.
But I didn't buy.
Yeah. Actually, no, first thing is don't say everything is karma. Very, very dangerous, because then somebody come to you and knock your toy and I say, it's karma, You see? So not everything is karma. There are two conditions. Past karma, present conditions. Past karma and present conditions. So we still have a chance. We can still change. Okay. If we don't, then it becomes past karma. You see? So now this thing about looking at things not buying is good karma. Yes, it's my very popular habit. Especially when I see expensive things, I say, look, oh, very nice. Okay, let's not buy it. Okay. So I'm very happy. So yeah, we are in a sense getting karma, unless even when you're meditating, that's when you create the least karma, but actually it's still good karma. But if you're really in deep meditation or in jhana, then you don't create karma. Okay? But that's a very deep concept. Okay, any other questions? Yeah?
Just now you mentioned about the triangle.
Yes, the triangle of experience, yeah.
So because of the sense order,
yeah.
Object,
So
consciousness,
yes. Yeah, these three, correct. Consciousness, yeah.
So I believe that our whole system, body system, is full of consciousness.
Is what, sorry?
Of the working of consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah. So for this triangle, let's say when we fall asleep,
Oh, okay.
and then we enter into a dream. But in the dream, we see another world with our eyes closed.
Yes.
So how to reconcile?
Yeah. Okay, this is a very fascinating area of consciousness. The dream state is also a kind of consciousness. So, from my understanding, I think in the unawakened mind, the thoughts are going on all the time. There's always something going on. It's like a loop tape, always playing. Something is playing. Because we've got so many karma. That's why we have dreams. Dreams mean your mind see all those reruns of old movies or something like that, but in a sense, you don't create karma because they are just reruns. They're just imaginations in your mind.
I mean, it's the consciousness that doing the work without the sense of it.
Well, in a dream, it's not regarded as karma. Yeah, it's just kind of this. We call it. It's not called karma. It's called kiriya. That means it's just a functional mind. That's the way the mind is. You notice if you're not talking, then your mind starts thinking. Thoughts will come, and this is especially what you notice in meditation because you are shutting down the mind. When you shut down the thinking mind, then the mind was that recorded all the sound, smell, taste, touch. They will start trying to get your attention. Then you must let go of them. So there are all these lots of a library of memories coming in, and they want your attention. So this is going on all the time. So, but you can let it go. You can let it go back into the background. It won't trouble you. Okay. So the thoughts themselves, if not expressed through body or speech, is not karma. Okay? Intention is karma, yes. Even when you think of, say, wanting to do something bad, it is mental karma. But it is not breaking the precept because it's not put into action or it's not spoken. Then there's no, speech karma or body karma. It's only mental karma. Mental karma is not regarded as precept. But of course, it's quite risky, you see. If you keep on thinking that way, one day you get out. So we got to use metta, use loving kindness, use meditation to clear away that kind of thought, mental karma. Okay, so there is mental karma, yes. Okay?
Can we say that dream, following this question, the dream is not a karma because there's no way you can will a dream, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's it. I intend to dream, then you go and sleep.
Yeah.
You will come. So it won't happen.
In the dream, basically, we don't operate with sense of
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not
Yeah.
something
So
you
we don't regard it as karma.
You can't say, I'm going to dream something good tonight. You can't really, that's how I look at it.
Any other question?
consciousness.
I did quite some reading on the dream. Actually, dreams, I can't remember exactly, it's quite a fascinating subject in the sense that the first 2 hours of your sleep, you are actually very light sleeping, so you can dream. Again, to me, it's not something you will or can control.
My point is that we don't use the sense organs to
No, it's only the mind working, yes.
does the job.
Yes, only the mind, yeah. Consciousness.
That's true.
And then one more is that when a person dies, because we are talking about life aggregates,
Yep.
it's about living and clinging.
So, okay, so your question is what is carried on during death,
Yes,
is
so
it?
when a person dies,
Okay, form is not carried, form is left behind, feeling is left behind, perception is left behind, consciousness. Even then, consciousness, not everything. Later on, we'll do another study where we do go into detail what consciousness is. Because consciousness is one whole volume, you know. You see, consciousness, you have your daily experience of things because of the senses. That one won't follow you, right? Because they are physical senses, right? Then there is what's called rebirth consciousness. Rebirth consciousness is what will follow you. Think of it as like a gene, G-E-N-E, gene, karmic gene. So everything is there, and it is tiny little mental unit, and this is what follows you, and then it goes to the next life, and then it will start all over again. It's not an entity. It's this is one of those problems when you come to language. For example, you say electricity is going through here, right? And then as long as there is this connection, a loop, you get this bulb lighting. Okay? But then if you put something, you put a motor, then you get a fan, you get wind. And then you put something else, a cooling device, you can get a fridge, you know. So electricity can take any form. So you ask ourselves, what is the final form of electricity? Even the scientists will tell you no such thing. You cannot answer it. The electricity doesn't have a final form because it's not form in that sense, is it? But it is material, yeah, matter, but it doesn't have a form. It comes and goes. So this concept, a lot of people, the ancient, some of those non-Buddhists, they cannot understand. So they say, oh, there must be some kind of permanent idea behind it. So they simply give some big name to it. But Buddha say, there's no such thing. I mean, what's wrong with having the idea there's no such thing? You don't have to give it a name, I say. So this is why the Buddha disagreed that there is this universal soul, eternal soul. Who says these are just ideas? People are scared to die, so they invent all these ideas. But there are no such things. Right? So consciousness like that, it is changing all the time. Only when it changes, it makes sense. If it doesn't change, there's no meaning. Right? So when you see those old movie strips, it's a series of one little square, many squares, you know, and each of them has got a bit of movement on him. So if you see one frame one frame is, you can't make sense of it. You've got to see everything at a certain speed. Then you perceive movement. Actually, there's nothing moving. It is your mind which is making the movie move, but nothing is moving. So that's another example of the idea of non-self. Okay, today we have to stop here. I have to go back early, and then we have our eating time. Nah? Okay, so anyway, you make your notes. Any question you have, I'll come back. We can ask again. Now we'll do our reflection. Nah? Now this is a very important time of the day when we sit down and recall this very important moment. You must remember the fact that you can come here, the fact that you can sit here peacefully, no stomach ache, no headache, and no other emergency that have to call you away. The fact that you are sitting here just for this time to listen to the Dhamma is a gathering of wonderful good karma. And when you sit here peacefully, you are keeping the precepts. We recited the precepts, so we have kept the 5 precepts complete and pure. We did not break any of the precepts. And then we did some meditation, so that we have sila and we have samadhi. These are the first 2 training. First training we keep precepts, second training we do some meditation. And then we learn something to grow our wisdom. These are the 3 trainings. So reflecting in this way, we should be very happy. Remember this moment, because this is the moment that will help you in your future meditation. When you have difficulties in your meditation, remember the peace you experienced today, the joy you experienced today. So this is wonderful good karma. By the power of this good karma, may we be well, may we be happy, may we be at peace with ourselves. Above all, may we be blessed with wisdom and courage to aspire to take the first step towards the path of awakening, stream winning in this life itself. By all this good karma, may all those people who are practicing the Buddha's true teaching taste the fruit of their practice in this life itself. May our relatives and loved ones too be well and happy. And may those who have difficulties with the teaching, or those who are lost, may they too quickly and truly see the Buddha's true teaching and return to the true path. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.